In this episode we piece together the life of Constantine II of Alba, son of King Aed of the House of MacAlpin. No known date has been recorded for the birth of Constantine, but considering he was a lot younger than his cousin, Donald I, when he went into exile, he was undoubtedly born somewhere between 870 AD and 878 AD, when his father was killed by his successor, Giric. Constantine spent his exile under the protection of his aunt Máel Muire, who was wife and queen to two successive High Kings of Ireland, Aed Findliath and Flann Sinna. In the year 889 AD, Constantine followed his cousin, Donald, out of exile and back to Alba, when Donald killed Giric at Dundurn in Perthshire. Whether Constantine actually travelled back to Alba with Donald, or once Donald had secured power has never been recorded, but he certainly had returned once Donald had assumed the crown. 11 years after Constantine's return to Alba, Donald II was killed in battle. Constantine would finally inherit the throne of his father in 900 AD, becoming Constantine II. In 902 AD, Constantine saw his first conflict with the Vikings, with the outcome of a narrow victory for Constantine's combined forces of Picts and Gaels over Ivar the Younger of Dublin's and his Viking army at Dunkeld. Constantine's early years in power would see him solidify the country and finally defeat the Vikings at the Battle of Strathern in 904 AD. The victory over the Vikings brought peace to the Kingdom of Alba, and the country would begin an era of tranquility under Constantine. In 927 AD, King Æthelstan, the Saxon King of England, would defeat the Vikings at York, a battle that saw a peace treaty signed between Æthelstan and Constantine. Constantine acknowledged the district of Penrith under English control as party of the treaty, and the boundaries which we now know today between England and Scotland were roughly created. Peace lasted between the two nations for around 7 years, until for some reason that remains unknown, Constantine broke the treaty that he had early signed. Whether Constantine's breaking of the treaty was intentional or not, it provoked the English Saxons under Æthelstan to invade Scotland unchallenged. Æthelstan harassed Constantine's Scottish army by land up to Kincardineshire and by sea up to Caithness, but neither side actually engaged in battle. Constantine didn't let Æthelstan incursion go without a response. He aligned himself with Olaf Guthfrithson, King of Dublin, and Owain, King of Strathclyde, in a coalition to conquer England and Æthelstan. Both sides met at Brunanburh, where Æthelstan's English-Saxon army triumphed over Constantine's coalition. Olaf Guthfrithson escaped at the end of the battle back to Ireland, and the fate of Owain was never recorded. Constantine also survived but lost many family members in the battle, including a son. The battle unified England and was probably one of the most defining battles in English-Saxon history after the Battle of Hastings. The battle did not allow Æthelstans to conquer Scotland, Strathclyde, or even Ireland, which all remained independent nations. At the time of the battle, Constantine would have been an aging man, in his late 50s if not in his 60s, and he realized he was too old to remain king. Constantine would abdicate in 943 AD and lived out the remainder of his life as a monk in St. Andrews. He would not leave St. Andrews until he passed away in 952 AD. He was buried with his forefathers in Iona. He would be succeeded by his cousin, who became Malcolm I.